It don't get any better than this.
Yeah, we'll figure it out later. Well, welcome to the show. Thanks for coming, man.
Thank you for having me, Rip. It's been since what 2000. I've seen you.
Something like that.
Yeah.
You look like you're the same goddamn age. I'm looking like I just grew my beard back about 3 weeks ago, something like that.
Yeah.
He was on me about growing a beard. Hell, it all comes in white. I hate shaving. I hate shaving, but I got all that extra turkey neck skin. So that don't help me with the attractive young men. So what the hell, right?
Hey, when we hit 10,000 subscribers on here, Rip's gonna dye it black too. We're gonna dye it black right here, live on TV here.
No, live.
Rip Rogers live.
This is Rip Rogers live, not live. Live. Okay. Rico, where you live? Where you at right now?
I'm in Las Vegas, Nevada.
Okay.
Las Vegas. Okay. So are you 3 hours different there? I thought Vegas was 2 hours. Is it 3?
3.
Okay. You've been busy hitting the shows too. You said you're on Boland's show and Renee's show. I checked out some of that.
Yeah, I've had a lot of time. I had a work injury last year. I fractured my hip and tore my hip flexor at work. And workman's comp out here stinks. They waited 16 months to approve everything. By then, my socket, my hip, the ball was all flat. Everything was a mess in there. So they had to go do reconstructive hip, the socket, put the ball in, tap the titanium rod in my thigh. A 45-minute surgery took 3 hours.
Oh, wow.
And I just had that done on the 3rd of January, 2nd or 3rd. So
how you doing now with that? I mean, is that like recovered going back to work or?
I'm up. I'm walking. I just got to listen to the doctor. He won't let me drive yet. So as soon as he says I can go back to work, I'm going to go back to work and get back in the gym. I ain't been in the gym 17 months.
Oh, wow. Hey, I noticed the fish aquarium behind you. I've got to ask, man. I just got my daughters their second fish aquarium. We can't keep fish alive for anything. Are you a fish guru? Can you help me out with how I can keep my fish
alive? Yeah. I've been doing fish ever since I was 28, right after American Gladiators. This is an 80-gallon tank. This has got geophagus, which is earth eaters, which they sift the sand through their gills and they do the food. I've got 4 electric blue acara, which are tropical, and actually an African leaf fish I've had for 8 years.
Holy cow! I can't keep one alive for 8 days.
Yeah, I just like fish. They're very peaceful. The lights are on a timer, and there's my bed over there. I just lay down and watch them swim. I go to sleep. The timer goes off. But yeah, these guys are hams too. They'll hog the camera. They got personalities and stuff like that. I have an 80-gallon downstairs with a bunch of carnivore fish, and then I have a 20-gallon right here that I'm starting with something called it's like a dinosaur fish. It's called a biker or bicher fish. They look like little dinosaurs. They can breathe air, and then they can get air through the water.
Oh, wow.
And yeah. So what you do is don't do the fish bowls. You got to get at least what kind of fish you want to get. What
I
kind
don't
of fish
know.
you want to get your daughter?
We've already had some. We have all kind. We've like a glowfish. Every fish, guppies. I mean, they just got little stuff. They just die all the time, though.
Yeah, well, those fish die because they're wimpy fish.
Rip, you big fish guy.
You got to start with a hardy fish, something like my gosh, silver dollars. They're pretty. They're big. They're silver.
Write that down.
Yeah, silver dollar fish. You can get geophagus. They got many different colors, and something hardy like a green terror, a Jack Dempsey, or even an Oscar fish to start. Because these guys that you see, this big one right here, yeah, he was that big. He was less than an inch when I got him. Now all of them are grown. You see, they're all hams.
How about that?
Yeah,
hey, we just had somebody in the chat said get some Oscars, so they're right there with you.
Yeah, Oscars are very hardy fish. You've got the common Oscar, red Oscar, tiger Oscars, albino Oscars, very colorful. The albinos are white and orange, so they're really cool to look at. Aggressive fish. I feed them. I feed all my fish pellets or frozen food because now the fish market is so inundated with aquarists that they carry disease. Inundated.
Like I know what the fuck that means.
Okay. It is overwhelmed with people like puppy mills. Okay. The fish be like a fish mill. It's fish mill. They don't take care of the feeder fish. So they got diseases. So you come home, feed them to your fish. Your fish gets diseases and dies. So I go with frozen and I go with pellets, high grain pellets. And it seems to work.
Well, shit, we got the great Rico Constantino on here, former WWF superstar, a man who was like bodyguards and winning the nationwide. What was that nationwide contest?
American Gladiators.
Yeah, the American Gladiator. Some bitch was such a super goddamn stud. Now he's getting on here telling me about fish. Now that's like Adrian Adonis. I was in Portland. And I went to his house and he said, "Hey, you can play with my fish. They like for you to touch them and stuff." Some bitch had piranha in there, right?
Oh,
some of a bitch is biting my fingers and shit.
So, that sounds like something the boy would do to.
Yeah, I had the fish tank at home years ago, and I had all my cat scrubs, rub-a-dub, buttermilk bowl, all of them. So they'd be flipping them little son bitches. And they'd go out of the fish thing, and then they would try and they'd start eating them and shit. I said, "Damn, I'd get rid of the fish bowl and everything."
Yeah, the bowl. My tanks got lids on them, so the fish don't commit fish-icide, because they'll jump out because they spook. So you got to keep the lids on tight, stuff like that. But this is kind of my hobby. That's cool. Shooting, archery, weightlifting. I've got many hobbies. So,
that's awesome, man. Well, how about wrestling? We're going to have to get into some kind of wrestling on this show, I think. It is a wrestling show, but a lot of times we don't talk wrestling. We talked
fish.
Harlem Globetrotters today. We talked John Mellencamp. We talked music today. So it is a wrestling show, but we're not always talking wrestling. So fish is totally fine, man.
Well, whatever you want to talk about, let her rip. Let her rip.
Hey,
no pun intended.
I even got some old pictures. Look at that thing right there.
That's me at 38 and a half.
Holy shit.
I was going to ask you that. Is that when you signed at 38? How old were you when you signed?
38 and a half.
Were you really?
Yep.
Well,
he told him they was 28. He looked 28. So what the hell, right?
Cornette thought I was 25.
All right.
When I went up because when I signed, I was only in the business 8 months and had 12 matches. And they invited me up to Connecticut, and I was part of the last Dory Funk dojo.
Okay.
So Dory and his wife were there. We're up in Connecticut with everybody, and we're sitting in the cafeteria, and we all sat in a line, and Dory and his wife would come by and ask the normal questions. What's your name? Where you from? Blah, 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 blah. About 3 or 4 minutes worth. And they were going down the line, and they came up to me. And like I said, it's about 3 or 4 minute conversation. Goes, what's your name? Rico Costantino. How long you been in the business? 8 months. They looked at each other. Mm-hmm. How many matches have you had? 12. They stood up and walked away. They didn't even get to my age. They just walked away. They probably said, "Oh, this guy did a favor to get where he's at." Blah, 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 blah. But at the end of the tryout, the 10 days, Dr. Tom talked to Cornette and said, "Hey, let's sign the kid to a developmental." And Cornette then advised me he was coming down to OVW in Louisville. And he says, "I want you to come with me to Ohio Valley." I said, "Sure." So July 99, I left for Ohio Valley.
Wow. So Cornette, who else was at the camp besides Cornette and Dr. Tom? Anybody else from WWE?
Henry was there. Nicole Bass was there.
Oh, wow.
That was really it out of the 10 that I remember.
So they didn't get to your age, and then you just packed up and...
Well, no. I told Dory right away. You know, I'm 38 and a half.
Oh, okay. Dory, okay.
Yeah, they knew right away.
Okay.
I never lied. Just Cornette found out on the last day I was 38 and a half and hit the roof at the Armory at Killer Kowalski's after our last tag match, yelling and screaming, I didn't know you were 38. You walk around like you're 25 and you wrestle. I was like, hey, I never lied, you know? And then I ended up, you know, I'll push it far ahead. I ended up being debuted at 40 on the roster.
That's fucking awesome.
That is great.
Yeah.
So when you get to OVW, are you the first contract guy there?
Mm-hmm.
So if you could walk us through, like, showing up you were at the old Davis Arena then at Jeffersonville, right?
Yeah.
The first actual signed trainee. Did you go in by yourself? Did you go in like with Danny Davis and all the other guys he had already been training? Or how did that work at that time?
I finally got there to Louisville. I walked into the Louisville Gardens and had a match with the Andretti brothers.
Or you had a match first?
Right away. I didn't get to meet anybody, nothing. You're going to take on the Andretti brothers. That's how I walked in.
Vito, man.
Vito.
Doesn't get any better than that.
Vito and Guido.
Vito and Guido.
Does not get any better than that, coming to Louisville, landing, and getting Vito and Guido, man.
Nobody knowing who you are.
All right, so after that then, going to Jeffersonville, the old Davis Arena.
Right.
Were you in with everybody else then, like non-contract, we'll call them at that time, or did they?
No, I was the first guy there. And it was up to Danny's guys to get me whipped into shape, you know? And I mean, I was green behind this ear, wet behind that one. That's Rip. I didn't know shit or shinola from, I mean, just knew the basics because Jesse Hernandez from Empire Wrestling Federation in San Bernardino started training me. You know, I used to work 8 hours a day, drive 3.5 hours to San Bernardino, work out 3 hours, drive 3.5 hours back to Vegas, and then go. I used to do that twice a week with my brother. And they played off the American Gladiator thing, you know, the red, white, and blue American Gladiator champion, that kind of thing. And then after like 5 months, I held the heavyweight title. And one of the highlights in EWF is Honky Tonk Man came down, and I was going to wrestle Honky Tonk. And Jesse said, this is going to be like a DQ or something. Wayne never lets anybody go over on him and stuff like that. And during the match, he was talking to me and stuff like that. And he let me go over on him 1, 2, 3, take his guitar, smash it on the ring post and everything. And I was just shocked. I just went with it.
Yeah.
And afterwards, I went back and I said, Mr. Ferris, I said, what happened? He goes, I knew you had it when you took me over on the headlock takeover. He says, I knew you knew what you were doing. And I that was one of the biggest compliments at that time I ever received.
Wow, that's awesome. So were you there then when he came?
Yeah.
Was Rip wrestling there or training there?
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Rip was there. Big part.
Give us some Rip Rogers stories or meeting Rip or thoughts of Rip. Anything you can remember from 20-some years ago of Rip Rogers, please.
Rip, old school, didn't put up with any bull crap. Just real quick, I remember, do you remember the match, Rip? I think I was on the opposite side and we were doing TV or something and we were wrestling and the other three, us new guys, not contract, but we weren't doing what you said. And Rip just got off the ring and walked in the back.
Is that when I come back with a kendo stick?
No, I did. I never got the kendo stick from you, but you just walked away. You just
figure it out. Figure it out, boys.
Figure it. And that's what you said.
Right.
Figure it out and left. And there we were just like, uh,
But
yeah,
you learned from it, didn't you?
Yeah. Oh yeah. Yeah. I mean, I took, if it wasn't for Danny Davis's core guys, and I've said this on many podcasts and I can never overstate it. If it wasn't for, like I said, you, Flash, Nick, Rob,
Doug Basham there,
Doug Basham,
Danny
even
Basham.
Damager and stuff like that, I wouldn't have made it. Because I remember when I started learning, but see, I took the extra step. I mean, after a while, the contract guys would come and they would just do what was required of them.
Right.
Me, I used to show up on Saturday when Nick used to train the local people.
Yeah.
And I used to go in there and train with Nick and the kids and just learn. Danny would take me sometimes. He'd be there late editing a show and stuff. And we'd get in the ring and he would teach me stuff, talk to me, try to get the psychology in my brain, and that's what Rip did, is get the psychology. I remember one match we were going to go out and I was going to wrestle Nick, and Nick goes, well, I don't know why he asked me, but he goes, what do you want to do? And I said, okay, I want to do this. I want to do this, and let's do this and this, and then we'll do the heat, and then this and that, this, that, and this. And then Nick is just sitting there looking at me straight faced, and he just looked at me and he goes, Rico, we have 6 minutes, and we can't get all your shit in, but we'll get some of it.
Just to let all the listeners know, Nick is Eugene. So most people are familiar with the show, know Nick Dinsmore, but he's talking about the future Eugene after that.
Yeah, but he said it so nice but it clicked. And then things started clicking. And then I got in a feud with Rob Conway. And Rob was calling the match as we were doing it, especially at Louisville Gardens when we did the iron, what was that iron glove called?
I know, coal miner's glove.
Coal miner's glove, yeah. He talked me to the whole thing. He goes, okay. And I'm ready to nip up. He goes, not yet, not yet, not yet, now. Bing. And I'd nip up, and it was just getting the timing down. And like I said, all those guys, and I was told one important thing. Might have been you, Rip, or was Nick. And they said, to make it in this business, you keep your mouth shut and your ears open. I can't.
Yeah, shut the fuck up.
Yeah, Rip would have said shut the fuck up, probably.
Yeah, but it was put to me like that. Keep your mouth shut and your ears open. And that's what I did. And I wanted to be so part of it because I loved it as a child. I mean, AWA, Rocky Johnson, Pat Patterson, the Sheik, Road Warriors, Vern Gagne's league used to come here to Vegas, and we used to have it on Saturday, and I just loved it. And now here I am at 38 and a half, living a dream. I'm now getting a contract, so I want to make it work. I want to put everything I have into it. So, when we did St. Therese or anything like that, I used to help with the crew, setting the ring up, tearing the ring down. I wanted to learn every facet of the business. I wanted to know everything. And went on. And then I had a match with Flash for the title. And one of the move was a reverse hip toss, and then Flash hip tossed me, and I did a flip out of it to an arm drag. Well, remember the old ring, Rip, that used to have the hole in the center?
There's a lot of holes in it, but
Yeah. Well, I ruptured my left patella tendon. I tore my quad during the match, so I was out. And Vince was nice enough. He took care of all the bills, physical therapy, surgery, all of that, kept paying my contract fee. And the doctor here said, I'll never wrestle again. And the funny thing was, 6 months later, I was back in the ring. But Kenny Bolin, that big round mound of sound, he asked Cornette. He said, Cornette, let me bring Rico back as a heel. And Cornette said, that's my top baby face. He's never going to be a heel. He'll never make it. And Bolin said, give me 6 weeks and he'll be a heel. And I made it in 3 or 4 weeks. And then I was the top heel. I became the role model.
Yeah, I remember that. I had posted or found a video of you and Cena doing a promo. And you said, you know who I am? I'm the role model, and this is my prototype or whatever it was. And that was kind of that. So I was gonna just go into the rest of these guys here. So the other guys then started coming in. I don't know how long after you were there, but the other, they started sending other contract guys in, the Batistas, Lesnar's, all those.
Yeah, I think it was about a month. Once Jimmy got it settled.
What was that like in that transition when these new big monsters started coming in?
Nothing. We were just like a team. I mean, to me, I got along with everybody. I learned, especially Randy Orton, 3rd generation, and then Cornette, I listened to everybody. I was like a sponge. I just tried to suck it all in because I knew I didn't have much time. And this is right when WCW and WWF were having the battles and stuff like that. So I know time is against me because of my age. So I wanted to get called up as fast as I could.
Yeah.
So
did you like that working with Cena and being a heel? Did you like the heel or the babyface better? I remember seeing you at the Louisville Gardens, excuse me, as a babyface, coming in as a babyface. You were like the All-American, the first signee. Everybody, Rico was the man, like the ultimate babyface. So did you like that, or did you like turning heel with Bolin and Cena and those guys?
I love playing either. I love being a face, and I like being a heel. At least OVW let me be me. The Rico, the athlete, what I could do as a face, and they let me do what I could do as a heel, and I proved that match after match after match. And then I get called up to WWE, and what do? Make me a manager.
What do you always say, Rip?
It used to be when I was teaching, they'd say, train this guy as a babyface. And then they would actually bring him in as a heel, just like you said. So I said, okay, I understand it. No matter what, I'm training them both ways. That way they can't get screwed when they go up there. But they would actually say, no, this guy's going to be a heel. So I'm thinking, okay, that means they're going to bring him up as a babyface just to fuck with everybody. So,
they double fucked me. They didn't bring me up as a heel or a babyface. They brought me up as a manager.
Well,
I barely knew wrestling. I knew zip about managing.
Well, what they was looking at too is you'd been hurt. You were
no, I wasn't. Yeah, you're right. I was hurt.
Okay, you were hurt. They're going, well, and we know how old he is. You could have been right circumstances. You could have been a manager there for 20 years. Got a paycheck, been a fucking TV star, talking shit nationwide, world fucking wide, having every bitch 6 to 60 blind, crippled, or crazy wanting your big Italian slongo, so what the fuck, right?
Kielbasa.
Yeah.
Yeah, what was that like then? So you go ahead.
Well, I called Kenny immediately and I said, give me some hints, because I didn't know what I was doing. I was sitting at home because I was doing dark matches. Mm-hmm. And about 2 weeks prior than when I got called up, I was wrestling Raven. And one night I was a face, one night I was a heel, during the house shows. And Raven asked me, what do you like, being a heel or a face? I said, I like being a heel. He says, you got to do something about your face because you're pretty. And so he says, grow sideburns. Well, he wanted me to do the honky-tonk sideburns. Uh-huh. Well, Wayne already did that. And then he wanted me to do the Rock corporate sideburns. and that's already been done. So I just went full Wolverine.
I think I have a picture. Maybe those.
Well, that's the second character, but you can still see the sideburns.
Yeah. Oh, I think I got it. I think maybe this one.
There it
how
is.
about that one?
Yeah, those are real. I mean, that's what they actually look like growing. Yeah,
awesome.
They were real.
So you go up initially. You're with Billy and Chuck, right? Isn't that who you started with?
Yeah, and I asked Billy. And Billy told me, "Don't worry." He goes, "I got you." And because Billy's a tag team specialist, and he helped me get through the manager spot. Told me when to, interject, when to slide in, throw my spin kick. That's one thing I did have for me because I am, I held a black belt in Kempo and Odu Stairu, and then I got an honorary black belt in Taekwondo. So, the moves were real. It was bringing them back in a working manner so I wouldn't be kicking people's teeth out.
Right. So when who originally told you were going to do this Rico gimmick, the stylist? Billy and Chuck, are they on board on this, or was everybody told to do this, or was it like their idea? Do you remember how it all came about?
Yeah, I was sitting at home and I got a phone call, said, "You're coming up to Ottawa this week for television." And I said, "Oh, okay." So I get to Ottawa and they said, "Okay, you're going to be Billy and Chuck stylist," I guess because they were losing heat. And I said, "Okay, what kind of stylist? Hair stylist, clothes stylist, foot stylist?" And Vince looked right at me and goes, "Flesh it out," and turned around on me. So I was like, okay. So I came out my first time black on black, like Stevie Richards did when he was part of Right to Censor, and then he went the other thing, and he was black on black. Well, I didn't want to copy Stevie, so I come home the week after, and I'm laying in the tanning bed, thinking, going, okay, stylist. And then I said, you know what? I'm going to be an image consultant, like out of New York. So I thought of an image consultant, and Godfather and I are good friends. I've known Godfather back since, 70s. I've known him that long. And I said, "Where'd you buy your clothes? Where did you get your stuff? I need to go get some of that stuff." So I put belly button rings in my ear. So if I wore a red shirt with the alligator suit, I had red glasses, red belly button areas. If I wore a blue one, same thing. Dressed like it, alligator suit, tiger suit, snakeskin suit. I wore all these clothes, and here I am coming out like I'm God's gift to everybody, and I'm wearing the most hideous garments you can wear.
Yeah.
And I'm giving them the sideburns, hair, hiya, thinking I'm all that, interfering in the matches. I remember my first match I interfered in with Ottawa because those people love the Hardy Boys. And I gave Jeff or Matt one kick, and Billy and Chuck retained the titles. And when you come out of Ottawa, they're up there and you're down here, man. I got pummeled with snowballs.
Asking the question already in the chat. I mean, asking about Billy Gunn. Can you go into anything more on Billy Gunn personally? And I don't know if you know this, if you're still watching, he's still out there watching. He looks like Andre the Giant now out there in AEW with all the smaller guys. But
yeah, I heard the other day, I did a podcast and they did a Royal Rumble. It looked like the teacher throwing and setting up all the kids. But Billy Kip, he's an enigma. He's meant for this. Growing up, he was a cowboy, and I mean, he knows it. He knows the psychology. He moves well. He still moves well. I got to meet his sons at an event when they came here to Vegas, spitting images of him, and Billy really helped Chuck and I improve and stuff like that. So we were always talking. I used to try and work out with Billy in hardcore, because, those guys are giants, so I wanted to, look my best and stuff like that in case I did get to go into a singles.
Right. I do remember what I was going to ask you now. What did Vince say then when he finally saw you? You said he had turned his back on you when you said, "What do you want?" So when he finally saw what you came up with, did he say anything to you after that, or nothing?
No, he didn't say that. Vince didn't like me because I was too old.
Uh-huh.
He didn't like my age. So I never got help from creative. I never got, any advice, nothing. It was just, I just thought of stuff. I talked to Dean Malenko, Fit Finley, Jericho, Benoit, people I trusted. I would talk to them. I'd think of a move and I'd ask Jericho or Benoit, I got this move, and I would show it to them. I said, where should I put that in a match? And they would tell me, put it in a shot, put it, in your comeback, or not a comeback, but put it in your heat, let them come back a little bit, and you cut them off with that. It's devastating enough to go for a cover. Stuff like that. Like the sideburn stunner. Fit Finley is the one that came up with that arm wrench reverse mule kick.
Oh, yeah.
That got along so good. And then I had that second rope jumping Itziguri.
Nice.
So
then you went on did you go on a 3-minute warning after that?
Well, yeah. That's when the wedding happened. Billy wanted to go do singles. Billy wanted to be a singles guy.
Yeah.
And and he wanted to be known as Mr. Ass because he had the famouser and stuff like that. So the wedding came up and we split up. I jumped to Raw and we beat the Tar, 3-minute warning, myself, and Eric beat the crap out of Stephanie and all that stuff. And then I went over to Raw. And right about that time, Undertaker came back from his injury. And when he came back, what did he come back as?
I don't know. Is that the American Badass time?
There you go.
Yeah.
So you can't have Mr. Ass and the American Badass.
Yeah.
So they started calling it, they said, Billy, you're going to be the one Billy Gunn. And then that was it.
Rip, did you tune in for that wedding, Billy and Chuck's wedding?
No, I must have missed that one.
Yeah, that the week before when Chuck proposed to Bill and the wedding part, those were the longest promos I had ever done to date. And the wedding was at least 5 pages. And every time I hit something was a cue for something else to happen. Plus I had to memorize the cues, and then make it my own. So that was really nervous for me. And I must have did well because the next week I came back and I got to wrestle Ric Flair and go over clean on it. 1, 2, 3 in the middle.
Wow. How'd that come about? And it just happened.
Because I think I did as well. I did good at the wedding.
Yeah.
And like I said, that was the longest promo I had ever done since that date. And that was done on SmackDown. We didn't have to do any cuts, any replays, none of it. I hit my marks. People came out. Godfather came out. Eric did his thing. The funniest, that was the best kayfabe I think ever in the history of wrestling, because Vince brought Eric to the show already made up. He was already dressed in the old man. He came out of Vince's limousine. Vince took him around, introduced him to everybody.
Oh, wow.
Brought him to catering. Went and got him a plate so he could eat. The only people that knew that was Eric was the people that were directly involved with the wedding scene. I mean, when Eric said, wait a minute, did I hear myself say 3 minutes? Mm-hmm. Everybody in the whole auditorium inhaled at the same time. It was like a vacuum. My ears popped. And if that had been Raw, live, that'd have been the best. The dirt sheets ruined it.
Oh, was that on It was still taped.
It got taped on Tuesday, showed on Thursday.
Oh yeah, I didn't even think of that. Wow, well, that's pretty cool though, man. That was a big thing. I remember that. I remember watching that. That was
like I said, and that was an actual tuxedo I got married in once.
Once. Yeah, well, we've all been there once or twice, right? Or however long.
Yeah, it was that was my actual marriage tuxedo.
Hey, I'm gonna rewind and let's talk a little Gladiator. We didn't really talk Gladiators though. How'd you get into that in the first place? Did you audition for that or?
Oh yeah, everybody. It was about 15,000 people across the country, and I had just torn my ACL in a construction thing, and I'm watching TV, rehabbing, and then I saw Gemini come on the screen, and he looked and he said, "All contenders, are you ready for the ultimate challenge? Come out and try out for the American Gladiators." And I looked at myself and I went, "He's talking to me. He's talking to me." So I started training in California, running 40-yard dashes in the beach sand. I would climb the baseball backstops to simulate the wall, do ladder runs. And like I said, they did like 4 or 5 different cities, ending up in Universal Studios. So I went to the Universal Studios, and at that time, there was like an Inside Edition type people who were doing, I don't know what it was really called, Inside Edition. Now they got TMZ and shit like that. But they were actually following me around. The first thing you had to do is 25 chin-ups in 30 seconds. Wow. And they had a person, and if you didn't go all the way down and all the way up, they'd go 1, 2, 3, 4, 4, 4, 5, and then time. And if you didn't get to, 25 or 30 seconds, you were eliminated. Everything was pass fail. Then they took you over, and then you had to do 40-yard dash, and you had to do it under so much time. And then you had to do a one-on-one tug of war, winner moves on. And then you had to do Powerball, once on defense, once on offense. And then that ladder race, how you touch a line, come back, touch a further line, come back further. You had to do that. And then you had to do an on-camera interview. So I did all that. And then this little short guy comes walking up to me. He goes, "Hey, what's your name?" "Rico." He says, "Come follow me." Okay. So I follow him, and he goes, "This is the Gladiator tryout. I want you to go through this." Sure. So I went through the Gladiator, not a contender, but a Gladiator tryout.
Oh, wow.
And he said, "Okay, we're going to send you a letter and tell you what you're going to be." Because the pilot season, they were getting rid of Titan. Rip, you probably remember him. Remember that big black guy, Doug Nelson or David Nelson?
Yeah.
He was Titan. He was Titan.
Yeah, David Nelson, yeah.
Yeah. And then they were getting rid of Malibu. So they were going to put 2 new gladiators in. So I got my letter, and they said they wanted me to be a contender. I'm just happy to make the show. They picked 20 men and 20 women out of 12 or 15,000. So I was just glad to be there. So I started training, watching tapes of the season prior. So I knew Titan and Malibu were gone. So I studied laser, nitro, and Gemini, what they were good at, not like how people watch football films.
Yeah.
So, and then I figured, okay, the 2 new guys coming in are going to be like me, new. They're not going to have a plan. So I did all that, and they give you 2 days to train without the gladiators, go through the wall, go through the eliminator, do a Powerball, do joust. They even had a Marine come up from Camp Pendleton and teach us how to use the giant Q-tips. And we did the gerbil ball, atmosphere, assault. And then after the tryouts, because there were people in the audience that would seed you, see how you did the event, and then they would seed you 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So I came out top seed, so I got to choose my color, and I chose red. So I wore red through the whole season, my whole season. And it's a 10-hour day to do one show, because they only film from like the 3rd week of June to about the 2nd week in July. And they film fall and spring at the same time. And they end with the grand championship. So, saves money. And then they make a gag order. And then for royalties, they make you sign a contract. And I found out through Muscles and Mayhem, they did this to the Gladiators, that you can't claim nothing from now to eternity. I mean, I've got like 4 trading cards. I did a TV guide thing. I did the little red Challenger doll on the package. That's me swinging on Hang Tough. And I got 0 for it.
Oh, really?
Yep.
Holy cow.
That don't feel bad for me. The Gladiators got 0 for all the merchandise that they sold. They got 0, nothing. And the injuries, those poor guys. After I saw Muscles and Mayhem, I am glad they didn't pick me as a gladiator. Wow. And $10,000 when I won was more than the Gladiators made the whole season.
Really?
Yeah, it's terrible.
So none of that was there was no script to that at all, huh? There was all on the legit.
Oh, that's real.
Side. Yeah.
All legit. Everything was legit. Yeah, that means
not like Rip's boxing matches.
Nope. That was they were fighting for pride, and I was fighting them and trying to get more points than the other contender.
Was there ever anything telling the Gladiators, like by the production, like don't hurt the guy? I mean,
hell no.
It seemed like they could have just killed some of those guys every once in a while.
They did.
Some of them didn't really look bad, but
they knocked out 5 contenders the first week. So the alternates had to come in. In fact, in the 2nd round, I faced an alternate because they'd done creamed the guy that I was going to fight next. Creamed him.
So you ended up making it to the finals, is that right? Is that?
Yeah, it's like a round robin tournament. You have your preliminary, your quarterfinal, semifinal, championship. But in the round robin, if you lose in the first round, you can come back through a loser's bracket.
Right.
So I faced a guy named John Adams, and I beat him. And then in the championship round, I'm looking at him because he came and won everything through the loser's bracket. So I had to face him again.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Nice. So what was the most, like, how many of those would you actually do in a day? Would you just have one competition in a day?
Well, it was one show, but it took 10 hours to film.
Okay. I knew, the whole show, but I'm talking like the actual one, whatever they're called, like the heads up competition when it's you versus the other person. Did you do multiple of those within a day?
Oh, no. Because they ran the spring and fall at the same time. So the fall season, Rico, you're up in 5 minutes. Let's say joust. And they didn't have a locker room for us. We had to sit under the bleachers. So we're sitting under the bleachers. I'm getting ready, my 5-minute call. And this is where martial arts helped me out. So I'm sitting under there. Zonka would come in. Okay, Rico. I'd go out. And then I would go. And then my competition would go. And then the ladies would go. And then they'd set up for the spring. And then the spring male, 2 males would go. And then the females would go. And then they'd tear that event down. And they would put the next event up. OSHA would inspect it. And then, 5 minutes, Atmosphere. So you'd start to get ready. And if you notice during the shows, you'd see the guys for the first 3 events all hyped up. And then 4th event, 5th event. And by the time they got to the eliminator, they were gassed out because they didn't know how to calm down in between, so they were like this all day. So they burnt themselves out. And the eliminator was the hardest thing to do. That's where you ran up the reverse treadmill, hand bike, balance beam, where they throw the dummy, climb the rope, do the swing, 2 jumps, and you had to go through Lady and the Tiger. 4 pieces of paper, 3 gladiators with a pad.
Wow. Now, I think a lot of people think that gladiators led you into wrestling, but there was a big gap in between there, I believe. And then
huge.
Why, I guess I never asked this. What took you so long to pull the trigger to go into wrestling? You said you had liked it previously. You were in gladiators. It seems like maybe that could have been a catapult into something. Why did you wait 30 years?
Right after, I lived in Orange County, so I became like a local celebrity.
Yeah.
And since I didn't get nothing for royalties and stuff like that, for the next year, I traveled around and I worked with about 10 different children's charities, and I just donated my time. I went there for free. All I said is just feed me, and I'll be there. I worked Special Olympics, muscular dystrophy, cystic fibrosis, cerebral palsy, Orange County burn unit, you name it, I worked it. If they called, I came. I love the Special Olympics. They were just wonderful to work with. Win, lose, you get a hug. And the funny thing is, I got to get Samuel going back because at the end of the year, they called me. Oh, we hear you've been appearing as American Gladiator champion, and we need 10% of whatever you made. So we need to have your records and this and that, blah, 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 blah. And this lawyer is going through everything. And at the end, he goes, all right, so when can you have all this paperwork ready? And I said, I got it ready right now. He goes, you do? I said, yeah. What's 10% of nothing? He goes, what? I said, I didn't get paid for one thing. And then they left me alone. And then right after that, I got hired by Universal Studios. I was in the Conan show. And then I played the Michael Keaton Batman at Six Flags.
Oh, shit. I guess I didn't know all that.
Yeah, I did that. And then I got hooked up with a group called the Power Team, a Christian group that rips phone books and stuff like that.
Oh, yeah. I've seen them, yeah.
I did that for 2 years. And then I went right back into bodyguarding. I mean, I traveled the world on their dime, and I got to meet 4 different presidents of different countries. I met Itzhak Rabin twice, and then I was in Israel, and I was going to go back for a 3rd time in 98, but somebody killed him.
Jeez.
Yeah. And 98 is when I came back here to Vegas, and my brother was going to Jesse Hernandez at Empire Wrestling Federation, and he told me to come along. I said, what am I going to do? I'm 38 years old. This is me at 38. He says, it's fun. So my little brother talked me into it because I was doing a bodyguard gig in Florida, and I was a private investigator. I used to work for 2 insurance companies, State Farm and Farmers, filming all the people who were going, oh, my neck, oh, my back. I need $20 million. Oh. And I would film them for 3 days. And in 2 years, not one person was telling the truth. Not one. Wow. So I came back in 98. My brother got me involved in Jesse, and there's the story from there.
Wow. Let's go back to OVW then a little bit. I'd love to talk a little more OVW. Can you give us just a little snippet on, let's start with, you told me the other day you've been talking to Eugene a little bit.
Oh, yeah.
Maybe, or maybe I'll ask it this way. Is there anybody else that you're still in contact with today? I know you've been on Renee's show and Maeve, and it looked like you talked to a little bit.
Yeah.
Eugene. Anybody else you keep up with?
Flash. Flash and I talk here and there.
Nice.
I know Damaja, Danny Holly, wants nothing to do with wrestling, but we did have a great conversation. He just called me out of the blue and we talked, and it was a really good conversation. RVD, I still talk to RVD. He lives here in town. We visit once in a while and stuff. Cauliflower Alley is here in Vegas. So I show up, and say hello and stuff like that. But that's about it. Like Eugene, I write Rob, say hi, you look great, stuff like that.
He is the Iron Man. He told me once you call yourself the Iron Man, you
live up to
it. That gimmick forever.
Yeah.
So he's never gonna let it go. I don't think. I don't know.
The Iron Man.
Hey, did you ever when you left that match, Rip? Did you leave it because you were mad, or did you really leave it on purpose to say, "Hey, figure it out"?
Both.
Both.
Yeah.
Oh, he was pissed because we weren't doing what we were supposed to do.
Yeah. So, but I knew it was going to be a learning lesson.
It is,
and then you're going to focus, and then next time you'll do what's right. Mm-hmm. You have to fail at everything to get it right. So yeah, of course I'm nitpicking on everything just to make a fucking point, so everybody gets the lesson for the day.
Yeah, but it was a good lesson. If you keep your ears open and don't take it personally, you understand. See, if people take it personally, then you're already out of the game. You just missed a nugget from an old school wrestler. You see, Bobby Eaton, when Bobby Eaton came, I talked that boy's ear off. Every time I would just sit there, just listen to him. Here's one of the greatest, and you just sit and talk to him. I got to talk to Cowboy Bob Orton, because I wrestled his son, Randy, Louisville Gardens. So I got to talk to Bob, when Nick wrestled Chris Benoit, I talked to Chris, just to hear them. I remember this Stone Cold helped too, because I don't know if you know this, they were going to cut me. They weren't going to bring me up. They were just going to say, thank you for your time. Goodbye.
Oh, yeah.
And JR, Cornette, Danny, and Stone Cold wrote a letter and said, bring him up. You're going to fire him. He's got 90 days. Bring him up and let him do dark matches. Maybe he'll think of something. And I remember we were doing Huntington, West Virginia. Do you remember that, Rip? Huntington? When Russ McCullough was supposed to do a promo.
Oh, yeah.
And be a heel.
He turned or something.
And he turned. He was like a baby face.
He turned himself face.
Yeah. I remember that. I said, oh, man.
Yeah. Cornette got so pissed. He took Russ out and he put me in Russ's place.
Oh, really?
So when Stone Cold came, I got to go out and give Stone Cold the business. And Stone Cold at the Garden.
Yeah.
And Stone Cold, I'm saying, what are you coming here? This is my house. I am the role model. I don't use foul language. I don't drink beer. You're a bad, role model for my people in Louisville. When I said Louisville, oh my God. They went crazy. So in Louisville, so all of a sudden, Steve talked to me a little bit before the promo. Right in the middle of it, he turns around and starts to walk out of the ring. And that wasn't part of the thing. He was testing me. and JR goes, you better call him back. And I said, hey, boy, don't you turn your back on me. And the audience popped. And I went, oh. And then he did that Stone Cold pause.
Yeah. That
Stone Cold turn. And then he came in. And then he started making nice, like I had really offended him. And I did this. Okay, I'm going to let you have your minute, the spotlight, this and that, this and that. And I said, that's right, boy. And then he starts looking around. And of course, you know what everybody's calling for. And he gave it to me. And the rest was history. So I got the thumbs up from Steve and they called me up.
Uh-huh.
And from what I know and what I've been told, Stephanie was the one that came up with Rico the stylist as the manager.
Oh, yeah.
For Billy and Chuck. That's what I was told.
I mean, Rip, you've always said that. Like, if you're going to pay somebody to be in developmental for years and then cut him. Give him a shot. You've said that like.
Yeah, you've wasted. If not, you've wasted 3 years of money and then you get nothing out of them. I'd go up there and shotgun every kind of character. They might catch on as something. They might end up being a referee. They might be, if they were a babyface, they could be a heel. They could be a manager, whatever. You just don't know. And you get somebody you were going to cut and they might end up getting a 20-year run because you figured out something that they could help the company with and there's no stress.
They were going to cut Cena the same time they cut me.
That was the old rapping on the plane story, or
but they were going to cut Cena right after me.
Yeah.
And look how much they'd have lost if Vince would have followed through. Look what they lost. You know.
Was there anybody down there that they did cut that you thought maybe should have made it, so to speak, or?
I think they should have given Flash a shot.
Yeah.
I think that guy worked so hard, believed, and could cut a promo, wrestled, had the psychology. I think they should have given Flash a shot. He could have been anything.
He could, yeah.
I would have brought everybody up that was on contest. They would all been brought up, and then you'd have like for 90 days, I want to see him as a babyface, as a heel, as a manager, as an announcer, as a tag team specialist or whatever, doing different characters. Then you got a thorough assessment of what they can do and say, okay, he can help us in this, this, and this, instead of just firing somebody.
I agree, Rip.
But
I
what
agree.
the hell?
Yeah.
I mean, Flash could do about anything, and he was just what did he start, Rip, when he was 16 or something? I mean, he started real young, didn't he?
Yeah, he was he was a teenager, and he was I used to beat the shit out all the guys I beat the shit out of. It was like Trash and Flash and you guys would beat the shit out of everybody else was what it was. And Flash is about 100. I'd hit him so fucking hard, he'd keep coming back and he'd be beat up. So I said, okay, now I ain't going to hit you that way no more. You already proved you're fucking coming back. So fuck me.
Well, plus he probably started hitting you back finally. And then that's when you, he could hit too. So.
Oh yeah. But he would never hit. He would never hit me that hard.
He wouldn't?
No, he would.
I can't hardly believe it.
No, he would subconsciously hold back.
Yeah. I remember Rip's story. One story that got me so funny. You told me one day we were just sitting by old Davis Arena, and we're sitting there and we're talking and we're putting on our boots and stuff. And you started to break out a story that you got in a fight in a bar, and and they got up to fight, the actual fight, and Rip hit the guy with a working punch.
Well, I did that in boxing matches too.
Yeah. Hit the guy with a working punch in a real fight.
Well, just think, if you're throwing working punches and that's all you do, that's second nature.
Yeah.
So I got the Dumbass of the Year award. You was talking about when Stone Cold Steve Austin come into OVW for the big show in Louisville Gardens, right?
Yep.
Do you know what we paid him that night?
Mm-mm.
$25,000.
Holy shit.
Wow.
$25,000 we paid him. Danny said, that's what we're going to pay him. I said, what? I said, well, shit, we'll see if we'll be here next week. But we end up making, $25,000.
Well, I thought maybe he wouldn't take it. He always gives Danny a bunch of credit for
probably
Memphis and
probably
stuff.
because he paid him. No, yeah. Now Danny was helping me when Steve was at Memphis.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
Mm-hmm.
Thought maybe you just.
Well, what Danny said was, he says, we're going to give him that $25,000. And Danny goes, I'm hoping he'll give it back to us so we can get some more chairs and stuff.
Yeah.
It didn't quite happen that way. So when you get that run, you got to make it.
You know, with the contract with the WWE guys, we had 3 territories. You know that.
Oh, like different, what? Like
we had Power Pro, Heartland, and OVW. And Cornette had me going. I beat Bradley, so I carried the Power Pro title. I carried the OV title, and I carried the Heartland at the same time.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, because we had the Cincinnati group was doing TV at OVW.
Yeah.
On a different night.
I remember that.
Yeah.
I
Les
don't remember
Thatcher.
Power Pro. What was Power Pro?
Was that Memphis?
Power Pro was Memphis.
Oh,
Yeah.
was? Oh.
Yeah. Cincinnati was Les Thatcher.
Yeah, it was Les.
Yeah.
We had Les on here about a month ago.
Ah, yeah. Steve Bradley was the champ at the time.
Okay.
God rest his soul. I think when Steve passed.
Yeah, it's been a while. It's been.
Yeah. I got to go over on him and be champ. He was a good wrestler too.
Yeah, I remember seeing him do a dark against Viscera once. He was always did shadow shows all the time.
The shadow,
so when he went and did the dark against Viscera, that was all shadow. He was
the shadow.
The shadow got Steve Bradley that spot in that in that match.
Yeah, but there's not much you're gonna do about Viscera. I remember when I was going, they put AJ Styles out with me. I tried out AJ. They put AJ against me. He almost killed me. Almost broke my neck. And then they put the guy with the dragon guy from Japan. I forgot what his
like
name
the Ultimo Dragon. I can't remember.
Ultimo Dragon. Yeah. Tried out. They put me in a match with him, dark match. And then they let Steve go. After that match, they asked me how he was. I said he was fine. I didn't go, he almost broke my neck. I just said, yeah, he wrestles good. And that was that.
Speaking of dark matches, somebody asked, did you do some dark matches with Lesnar? Some people ask about your dark matches with Brock. How were they?
Oh, Brock treated me good. He never hurt me. Brock and I had an understanding, we never hung out because he did different things than I used to. I was a married guy, had kids at home, never did the going out scene. But yeah, I wrestled Brock. He sold for me. I definitely sold for him. So yeah, I think I'm one of the only guys that beat Brock. I think it was Randy and I beat Brock and H2O Waterman.
Oh yeah.
Hey, Rico, remember when we ran Hope, Indiana? They were lined up around the building. The first match was Brock against Ron Waterman. And his old hillbillies was going, I ain't never seen two guys looking like that in my life.
Yeah.
God.
Yeah, well, they were big. In fact, after they cut Ron, and I can't say this is gospel, but I heard Steiner was coming back, so they got rid of Ron because Ron looked like Scott.
Yeah, he did.
And then I turned Ron onto the power team because he was a Christian.
Right.
And he went for a few years with the power team. So he went right from there, and then he got a job with the power team.
Oh, wow. I didn't know that.
I turned him on to John Jacobs.
H2O, baby.
H2O Waterman.
Yeah, they did bring in some big guys at that time.
Yeah.
Hey, one thing we haven't.
Batista was huge.
Yeah. What we haven't hit on, you did start wrestling though in WWE. Then you and Charlie Haas were tag champs for a while, right? I mean, not being a manager anymore. You went into.
Well, I was the manager, and then I started doing a lot of singles.
Yeah,
because they saw I could pull it off. And then, like I said, Billy and Chuck split up, and then I went to 3 Minute Warning.
Yep.
And I said, that's enough, this and that. I think because Eki got in trouble down in Florida, and Vince suspended him or fired him or something, so he couldn't have 2 Minute Warning. So Rosie became shit with a Hurricane.
Yeah.
Superhero in training.
Yeah.
And then Triple H came up to me and said, hey, we want you to do this Adrian Street character. And I said, why me? He goes, because Vince thinks you're the only one that can pull it off. I said, okay, is Adrian still alive? Yeah. I said, then I got to go talk to him. I want to ask him what he did. I want to ask him if I can have permission to plagiarize his character, and stuff like that. That's his character. So Vince flew me to Gulf Breeze. I spent the day with Adrian and his wife, Linda.
Oh, shit.
And I said, we're going to have to bring this to the millennium because I can't do what you did in the 70s and mistreat the girl because I'll get shot in the arena.
See, Rip.
So I said, I'm going to bring it to the millennium. So when I got back talking to Stephanie, and I said, okay, I need a blonde bombshell to go with the character to do a dichotomy. Is he gay? Is he not gay? He's got a girl. He does all this funky stuff in the beginning, but then he'll kick your ass at the end. So I told them I need Jackie. And that was right after Jackie and Linda Miles effed up that match on Raw. Remember that?
Yeah.
She was going down. Jackie was going down to OVW again to get released. And they were going to give me Melina from ECW. And nothing against Melina. She could wrestle and stuff like that. But I didn't need a wrestler. I needed somebody hot to dote on me. Comb my hair, spray perfume on me, chapstick, tickle noses, that kind of stuff. So I kept saying, if you want this to work, I need Jackie. Then finally Stephanie gave in and said, but she'll never wrestle. I said, I don't want her to wrestle. I just want her to do her part, look good, look sexy, and help with the character. So she came up and it started to work. And then she really wanted to wrestle.
Yeah.
And I would sit there before tapings, before house shows. She'd put on her boots, her tights, her knee pads and stuff. And the boys would just beat the shit out of her. But I couldn't step in and go, hey, guys, knock the shit off, because that would have made it worse for her. So I had to let her take her lumps, but she took them on her own, and then she ended up wrestling. I mean, we wrestled. She did a bra and panty match with Trish. Chris Jericho and her wrestled Jackie and I. We did that 6-man with the Dudleys and Dawn with Charlie Haas. And she got to wrestle, but she earned it. She went there and did it herself. So hats off to her on that part. So she proved Steph wrong there.
Yeah. Have you, I don't know, have you kept up with her at all? I saw a video of her that wasn't looking.
Yeah.
Good right
I got
now.
sent that video and that broke my heart.
I really at first didn't believe it was her. I thought it was a rib. And then
I didn't think it was her either.
But I guess apparently it is. Hey, back to Adrian Street. Did you know Rip, one of his longest feuds was with Adrian Street back in the day?
No, I didn't. Yeah, we had it was me and Brenda against him and Linda. Very first night in for Continental, we shot an angle. We worked 26 weeks in a row in all the clubs around there. And then when that was done, I just left. I said, I ain't going to follow this act ever.
Right.
That was the best. That was the best feud, and nothing. Everything was called in the fucking ring. We never had one disagreement about anything. It was just two guys that was playing good guy and bad guy.
Right. See, but back then was good. You could do that because people knew psychology. Now it's all high flying, this and that, get your shit in. I can't even watch the product now. And Adrian came out with a video how he was upset on the way I took his character and how he didn't like Goldust. But I warned him when I said, listen, I'm going to bring this into the millennium.
Yeah.
This is 2000.
Yeah.
And so it wasn't like he didn't know. I was going to tell him I'm going to make some changes to it. And he had a wrestling wardrobe company. Right. And for him letting me do his character, I bought all my stuff from him for a year. Everything I bought was from Skull Crushers.
Yeah, that's right. Skull Crushers.
Yep. And I bought everything from him for a year for letting me do a version of his character.
Wow. That was pretty cool though. And then you and Charlie ended up being tag team champs for a while, didn't you?
Oh, the funniest thing, Pat Patterson. So I do Velocity with Jamie, and that goes over real big. And then the next week I do Charlie Haas on SmackDown. So I'm doing my gimmick and stuff like that. And Charlie's going all homophobic and stuff like that. And the end of the match is he gives me a suplex. I go up and over and I grab 2 handfuls of his ass. He grabs his ass, turns around, and then I plant one right on his mouth. Just bop. Well, he can't get back in the ring at the count of 10. So he's disqualified. So we go up to Canada or the next week, and Rikishi and Scotty 2 Hotty are holding the belts. And Pat Patterson comes up and goes, "You two need to hold the belts." He goes, I said, "But the match is already done. Show's already done." He goes, "Give me a second." So he goes back to Vince. He changes it. And now it's Charlie and I. See, Charlie has a mystery partner because Benjamin had gone over to Raw. Yeah. So Charlie has a mystery partner. And he's up for the tags. And it's Rikishi, Scotty. So now you've got me, Rikishi, and Scotty, who are faces, and Charlie is the only heel. And how are we going to get this done? You know, and that's where I left it to Rikishi. You know, and one of the biggest pops is, you know, when you do like a sunset flip and then Rikishi smacks his ass to drop on you. Well, I did the sunset flip. He smacks his ass. And then I reach up and I smack his ass. Oh, my God. And Charlie is like, you know, an unwilling partner. So he goes, tag me in. So I tag him in. And as he turns around, I pinch him in the ass. And then he turns around and I grab him by the cheek and he, you know, I pinch his cheek and he goes like that. And then Scotty and him take off. And the audience was mixed. They were booing and cheering. But Taz and Cole put it over. Goes, I think they won. And we won. And then the next week we took on the Bashams. And that was a really funny match. Oh, my God. Doug and Danny played it off so good. And you know, after a while, a lot of the guys started to believe in their gimmicks and shit like that. That's what I didn't like. And a lot of them didn't want to work with me because of, you know, me doing my shtick.
Really?
And Charlie would tell them, why wouldn't you want to work with him? His stuff is easy. All you have to do is facial expressions. You don't do bumps. You just react to what he does. And then you get into the bumps. So Charlie was my advocate there, and he would get the guys going, yeah, you're right. So we'll do it. You know, Scott Steiner gave me a hard time, but he ended up doing it. Hardcore at first, and Bubba was the worst. Oh, I ain't doing that shit. I ain't doing that. And remember the 6-man at No Mercy? The Dawn, where Dawn was after Charlie and Jackie liked Charlie.
Was there thing? Was there a table spot in there?
No. This is just a mixed 16.
Okay, I was thinking. Go ahead with it.
Well, I think the table spot was before I turned the makeup character. That's 2002 Survivor Series, where I yelled, "God damn it, Jeff!"
Oh, yeah.
That's 2000. But I didn't know there was a microphone in the pole. He just was too slow on the spot. So I had to look like an idiot. And a moonsault was my move. You know, as a heel, I missed it. As a face, I hit it. But he's making me look like an idiot because Bubba's laying on the table. And how long can Bubba lay on the table? So I just yelled.
Yeah.
But it got caught. But nowadays, it's all been erased. So
you're back to a 6-man with Dawn.
Yeah, with Dawn. So Bubba starts giving his attitude. I ain't doing none of that stuff. I ain't doing this. So the agent went back to Vince, and then all of a sudden on the loudspeaker you hear, you know, Bubba Dudley, come to the green room. Bubba Dudley, come to the green room.
Oh, wow.
Guess where he's going? He's going to see Vince.
Principal's office.
Yeah. So he comes out. Now, I didn't think of this. He does. So during the middle of the match, somehow he gets Dawn, puts her on her knees, and he wants her to kiss him. So he's, come on, baby, come on, baby. Then he puts his hands behind his back and he's puckering up. And he thought of this spot, not me. So she sneaks over and tags me, and I come tiptoeing in the ring, and I kneel down right in front of him, and I'm rubbing in his head. Oh. And he's, oh, baby, yeah, baby. And I just go, mwah. And he's like, yeah, that's it. He opens his eyes and does the Home Alone. And he rolls out of the ring.
So wait a second. He went from not wanting to do anything to calling a kiss spot?
He called the kiss spot.
So what do you think Vince said to him?
Don't know, but it made him do the kiss spot. That wasn't even on the table, a kiss spot.
Yeah.
You know, with Charlie, to count him out, we both agreed, I got to give you a kiss, you know, so you throw up. So he was hurling outside of the ring and couldn't make the 10 count. And then he tried to come back in. I had to bring out the pink thong with the sparkles.
That was awesome. So did you mentioned the Basham brothers. Was it easier, maybe not easier, but more comfortable when you got to go up there and then wrestle other guys that had been in OVW with you? Did that make any difference at that time, or was everybody kind of just the same at that time?
Well, I've got ADHD and OCD. Everything has to be perfect. So I was always nervous before every match.
Yeah.
I don't care who it was, because I wanted it to go flawless. You know, and so whether, I don't care who it was, you know, I was always nervous going over the spots, because when you get to that level, they quit calling in the ring.
Yeah.
They quit calling it, you know, so I had to basically unlearn.
That's what you tell them, Rip.
You know, you have to unlearn what you were taught, and you got to follow these spots. So, you know, you got to make it work.
So did you ever think that when you were a USA babyface, good-looking dude, just winning the Gladiator, getting into wrestling, everybody loved you, the champ, that you would end up being Adrian Street type of, is he gay, is he not, with a bunch of makeup on?
Nope. Never thought of that.
Did you ever sit in the locker room getting your makeup on thinking, man, I can't believe I'm doing this shit? Or did you embrace it and love it?
Nope. I embraced it and loved it.
That's awesome.
This is what he wants. I asked him, how far do you want me to take this character?
Yeah.
And I said, as long as we don't offend that lifestyle or show it in a bad light, I'll do anything you want. And he looked at me, he goes, strap a rocket to your ass and I'll tell you when to come down.
That's cool.
And putting on makeup, you know, I used to go in the bathroom and put on, because I had to use upper makeup, you know, with the glue and stuff like that to put the sparkles on so they stayed.
I don't know, but yes.
Well, I'm letting you know.
Okay.
Wink, 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 wink. I'm letting you know.
All right.
Rip, you can tell him later. Because he worked with Adrian. He knows what goes behind it. But you got to have that stuff stay on. If it gets in your eyes, you know, you can't be sitting there rubbing your eyes.
Right.
So, you know, I embraced it, and I would always think of stuff new to do every week, you know, and to make it new, not just do the same stuff. And a lot of ideas I actually got from the fans, because I would go out and sign autographs afterwards, and they would always go, hey, you know what would be funny? And I'd go, what? And that next week I would sit in the tanning bed and go, okay, yes, no, whatever, mix this one with mix that one. And then I would get things to do. So one day we're somewhere and I'm putting on my makeup because it takes me a little longer. And in comes the Undertaker. Now, he and I have a kind of a special relationship, you know. We were friends, And so he comes in and he's looking in the mirror and he's putting on, his eyeliner. You know how he puts that on and looks and stuff. And I'm putting on all pinks and powder blue and sparkles. And I'm sitting there and I can see him because he's this huge. And he's finishing his eye, he's going to the other eye, and he's kind of looking. And I see him looking like something's wrong. And I just looked over at him with his calm face and I said, "Hey, you can borrow some of mine if you want." He kind of closed his eyes, went like that, opened them, and looked dead at me and went, "No." And he turned around and walked out of the bathroom.
That is awesome. That's a great story.
Yeah.
Oh, wow. Hey, well, we've kept you on here about an hour and 20 now. I told you at least an hour, so we're well over
How
that.
about all the questions? Did we get them? Because I can't read them.
We don't go through every single question in this chat. We'll do some people in green. We'll get some super chats every once in a while. Love American Gladiators. Great interview. I think a lot of people were asking about Charlie Haas. Actually, there were some people when I posted stuff before you came on. It seemed like that was kind of the hot question was you and Charlie Haas. Seemed like that was.
Yeah, I after I left, I didn't keep in touch with him. Jackie came in town because after I left wrestling, I went to Japan for about 3 weeks, and Bull Buchanan and I won the All Asian Tag Titles.
Oh yeah,
first night, and I was 44 then, and then I started thinking, do I really want to go to Japan every 3 weeks? 3 weeks a month to see the family. So finally, I just said, no, that's it. And after I returned the belt, I went back and I went to police academy. And then I graduated #1 in the state and I got hired by the state. 6 months later, I was a state police officer and a part-time United States Marshal.
Oh, wow.
So I did that and I was working 5-6 days a week. So it kept me pretty busy. And then in 2016, I got sick and I had blood clots, one in each lung. So I had to medically retire from law enforcement. And that took me 3 years to get over. So now I work for a large insurance company here in Nevada called Bell United. I am a senior investigator field agent. And I do everything a cop does except give tickets and put people in jail. But I do risk management, accident investigation, loss prevention, loss recovery. And I work for like the house limos for all the hotels, 3 or 4 major limo companies, 2 tow truck companies, 2 cab companies. So that's what I do now. So I'm basically doing what I'm good at, but I don't carry a gun anymore, which is okay. But I still do the investigations and, do my reports every night and stuff like that and keep the drivers, in line and stuff like that. So I go to the doctor, not this Friday, but next Friday to see if he'll let me go back to work.
Okay. So pretty much full circle then, back to.
Yeah, basically, I didn't like the pressure Vince had on me. In fact, after I left the first year, he had Tommy Dreamer come back when they came to town. And he said, "Vince wants you back." I said, "Thanks, but tell him no. I got a good job. I got 2 good jobs. I'm a part-time United States Marshal and a state investigator. Come on. That's solid. Plus, I got a retirement." So then the next year, Paul Heyman and Tommy Dreamer came back and asked the same question. And basically I said, "I guess, Tommy, you didn't understand what I said the first time. So tell him F no. No's no. You had me once. You should have kept me and you should have used me." Because what he does, he fires people and he brings them back for less money.
Yeah.
See, and the reason why I was let go And he said, because whatever he said is because I asked for $1,000 a week raise after 3 years and holding both tag belts. And the character was getting over, and I was just about to be on the magazine. So I just asked for $1,000 a week. Cheap ass said no.
Wow. And then that's when he let you go?
Well, I told him he had 90 days to decide. And the next day after he said no, I was in Japan winning titles.
Wow. I didn't know that.
Yeah.
Was you with All Japan or New Japan? Was it Baba or Inoki?
Baba.
Okay, that's who I worked for. Yeah.
Yeah.
I went 3 times and I couldn't stand it.
Yeah, I didn't understand it. I was used to working people like you, soft and stuff.
Mm-hmm.
Boy, they're stiff. And I went, okay, I guess I have to let them know who I'm doing. So I brought back my old martial arts, and old Muda got a few kicks. And, and they kind of eased up a little.
Yeah, my first night in for TV, I was partners with Danny Spivey. And you know how big Danny Spivey is. Yeah. Them guys beat the shit out of us for TV. It was Tenryu and Hara so fucking bad. The next night I went into my homosexual role. And Joe Higuchi said, Baba-san said, you do that every night. I said, you're damn right I'm doing it. Well, everybody else was having to half fight out there. I went out there and had the greatest time ever. Then I did this. Then I did the same thing in Austria and Germany and England. I just went in there. They said, "Can you work babyface?" I said, "I can do a poof gimmick." So I did that. So that was the easiest thing. Everybody else was working hard, getting hurt, and I'm going out there strictly entertainment, and that's the most fun.
Yeah,
that was the most fun.
That's what I love about the makeup character. It was entertaining, but in the end, when I had to turn it up, that's where the wrestling came in, and but it was funny. It made people laugh. And that's why I kept telling people, that's why I'm semi-main event all the time, because you got all these serious guys, and they're trying to prep for the main event.
Right.
So I'm the comic relief. Makes everybody relax. So when Undertaker and Guerrero come out, or JBL and Guerrero come out, they're ready to have the intensity, back again.
Right.
So I got paid pretty good because I was on semi-main events.
Well, they want to have that downtime to change the attitude.
Yep.
And then the next match, right? So if you go out there and do bomb, bomb, bomb. Next match is bomb, bomb, bomb. Then bomb, bomb, bomb. Well, hell, it's the same old shit. So we got to give them the buffet. I'll give them some beef. You give them some chicken. Vaughn will give them some turkey, and then somebody will do a fucking casserole, whatever like that, and we'll get everybody that they like. Whether it be lucha, spots, hardcore, effeminate, whatever's there.
Yeah. And I learned that at OVW. That's where I learned it, and that's why I used it. And it was easier on my body.
Yeah.
And then Rip says, whatever you learn at OVW, forget when you go up there and do whatever they tell you.
Yeah. Because you learn how to do it, because when you get there, they're going to change everything.
They did. I remember Cornette at St. Therese wouldn't let us talk before the match. We were in separate rooms.
Right.
And when we came out, we had to do a match.
That's right. That's the way it's supposed to be.
Yep.
I put up on the board this babyface against this heel, so guys would fucking talk, right? Then the babyface would go to the ring and I'd send a different heel in. They didn't know what to do. Pretty soon they figured it out. They're going to have to learn to work and call on the fly. Then I said, but then you get a job WWE, forget it all. But you can save stuff if something breaks down then.
Well, you have to,
yeah.
And that, and I relied on that I had a backup. So at least I got taught the right way. And then it was something to fall back on in case something goofed, What I didn't like is if somebody would try the same maneuver twice, I would try to stop them before they went and did it again. You know, I'd go run in the corner and hit them, or jump up and give them a roundhouse, a hard one, and they'd fall outside the ring. So you don't do that twice. You're giving it away. You're telling the people you screwed up, because they don't know you screwed up. Only you and the guy you're wrestling know you screwed up. Am I right, Rip?
That's right.
See?
Like it's like, if this is the finish, you don't go into it twice.
No,
change something.
Change it. Yeah. So, like I said, everybody, and I credit Danny Davis and that whole crew for giving me the basics so fast. It was kind of like a fast food. I had to learn it really quick. And like I said before, this shut, these open. See, and God says, that's why God gives you one mouth and two ears. So you listen twice as much as you talk.
There we go.
So I'll leave you with that.
All right, man. Well,
thank you so much for having me on the show. Rip, it's been great to see you. And thank you for helping me with my career. Thank you so much.
Well, you went out there, worked your ass off, had a great career, got to do what you wanted to do, continue to be Rico Constantino, the Greek guy that was really Italian. So what the hell, right? It don't get any better than this.
No, it don't.
Still being the king in Las Vegas, and you got to tell Vince McMahon no twice. So it doesn't get any better than that.
Yeah, I wasn't going back. And everybody goes, did you want to stay longer? I said, I stayed as long as God let me stay. And here it is, almost 20 years later, because I left in 05, and February of 05. So it's 04. So 19 years later, I'm still doing podcasts. People are still bringing up the character, and Vince tried to recreate it with Santino, and that flopped. So you can't do it. You can't do it.
There's only one Rico.
I'm glad. And thank God for the world. There's only one of me.
I still think I spelled your name right, though. Maybe. Is that not right?
COS.
According to Wikipedia, I'm right. Maybe
no. Wikipedia's got it wrong. And that page, I'll tell you what, that page is 98% accurate, and I have not added anything to that page. The only thing wrong, it said I was a Metro SWAT officer, and I wasn't. I was a North Las Vegas police officer. And if you remember that old show, Nasty Boys, yeah, I was the original member when there was only 4 of the Nasty Boys. Yeah, when it first came out. Because I was a North Las Vegas officer when I was 23. And I was there for 85, 86, 87. And they hired a new chief. And I didn't like him. So I threw my badge at him and said, goodbye. I quit. And I left.
Guy knows what he wants, Rip.
Yeah, if I'm not happy at a job, I'm not going to make people unhappy. I will go to where I'm happy doing what I'm doing. I've done it my whole life. You can tell by Wikipedia. I've done this, I've done that, I've done this, I've done that, I've done this, I've done that.
All except for your name. Although it does spell it a different way if you start reading, and then it goes back to spell it the other way again. So that's my fault. I take responsibility for that. Actually, I'm going to blame Rip. Rip was in charge of production today. He did all the thumbnails and all the backdrops. He did all that today. Well, it was his first time ever, and look what happened. A misspelling.
It was the wreck that was on 465. It took me all that time to get here. Excuse me.
All right. Well, thank you, sir. We'll let you go. Really appreciate it.
The kids want to say goodbye.
Oh, okay.
Everybody's saying goodbye. Yeah. See them all. They're all located right here. They're hams.
Say goodbye to the fish, Rip.
Oh, goodbye, Oscars.
Goodbye. Greatest show ever. Thank you. Appreciate it.
Thank you, guys. And
thank Rico, you baby.
Hey, this is Rico. Hey, Rico, I need if I get to Vegas, because I went to Cauliflower Alley, I don't know how many years ago.
Right.
But then I want to get a hold of you and hang out or whatever. So
yeah,
we'll have to have that. He had to send me the kayfabe phone number or whatever.
I've got it. I'll give it to you.
He's got it.
Yeah.
Give it to Rip.
I will. All right.
Yeah. Rip, if you want to talk or chat or something anytime, just give me a call.
You know, I want a younger, more attractive man. So I guess you're still there. So what the hell, right?
I turned 62. I'm 62 now.
Nice.
Shoot, you're an old bastard.
Yeah.
He ain't much younger than you, Rip.
I'll be 70 in a couple of weeks, so that'll be cool.
Yeah, and I got new car parts, so I can't wait to try these out.
Oh, hey, on your hip, did they do the front or the side?
I had to have a total reconstruction, so they had to put a socket, a plastic socket in the socket.
Yeah,
they had so that's plastic. I got a porcelain ball. And I got a titanium rod hammered into my femur.
That sounds rather sexual, doesn't it?
Yeah, well, actually, I told the doctor, I said, if there's any titanium left, give it to me because I'd like to use it.
Oh my boy. Well, Rico, I don't think we can top that one.
You guys are gonna have a good time in Vegas, man.
Yeah.
I'll show you around, Big Rip.
All right, this will be the greatest ever. Hey, thanks for being on here, Rico.
Thank you very much for inviting me.
All right, Rico, baby.
God bless you, Rico Constantino.
That's right.
Have a good one, gentlemen.
Thank you.
Watch.
I said watch. Watch this next video that's coming up on your screen. Remember now, watch it.
That I can't get the shit closed.